Hey guys, welcome back to the Wood and Metal Workshop. I've gotten a bunch of emails lately and I figured we'd do a little Q&A session and talk a little bit about the shop and upcoming projects and a few other things. I want to first thank everybody for watching the videos. I really appreciate it. Like the comments and the thumbs ups. Not so much the thumbs downs, but you know, everybody's going to get those. Not everybody can be happy with what everybody does. We've got a few questions here that have come in over email that I thought I'd answer in public rather than sending out return emails on. I did email back, but I'm just going to continue on. Bob asks, where do your projects come from? Everywhere. A lot of them are my own projects that I want to do. And then we have projects that come into the shop from outside people. By recommendation, word of mouth. I don't advertise. If you want, if you're in Minnesota, northern Minnesota, and you want something done, just go ahead and drop me an email, and I'll get back to you, and we'll figure something out and see if we can work within your budget and my time frame. So that answers the second part of this question. Do you accept outside jobs? And yes, I do. I've got a few sitting outside right now that are going to be coming in. Some are going to be videoed, so a lot of them don't get any video footage of them. It's either not interesting, it's a repeat of something else, and just not something that I think you guys would be interested in watching. So, let's see, Tomas, sorry about that. How big and how old is your shop? The shop here is 40 by 32. It's got the wood metalworking automotive side. It's got 14-foot sidewalls and a 19.5-foot peak, I believe. Then on the woodworking side, it's got 8-foot sidewalls and a 13.5-foot peak. So lots of room in here. Of course, it's like any shop; it could be bigger. No matter what the size of the shop, you always seem to fill it. Keith writes, what woodworking machines do you have? I really haven't done the second half of the shop tour, which would be the woodworking side, because honestly I haven't been doing any woodworking. It's been pretty much non-stop over on the metalworking side and vehicle side for the last almost a year. So haven't really had any woodworking projects come into the shop. Yeah, I've got a couple probably coming up this fall. We'll probably get some video of those, but I got to get that side of the shop cleaned up. As far as I've got a 5 horsepower cabinet saw. Of course, I've got the big Rockwell Delta bandsaw that's metal or wood. Radial arm saw, 8-inch joiner, router table, a planer, all the normal hand tools and whatnot that you need to have in a wood shop. I think I've got 4 hand routers, a sanding station, a downdraft sanding station that we built a few years back. Of course, the power miter saw. Just about anything you need to do to do work in the shop, you can do workarounds without the huge equipment. So, and of course we've already seen. If you go back in the older videos, there's some lathe work, wood lathe work that we did last winter. So just a couple little Christmas present projects. Christy, is your shop always a mess? Yes. Yes, it is. Unfortunately, in a working shop, it's not a home shop. We do projects here, we do outside jobs, so we're busy a lot. We don't spend a whole lot of time cleaning. It's put tools away, put stuff out of the way to get the work done. It's at the end of the day, it's about getting the job done right, and getting it out the door. It's not so much about how neat the shop is. That leads into sometime this fall, this winter, there's going to be a major shop reorganization. A lot of the equipment is going to be shifted around and moved around, and some more shelving is going to be moved and built or rearranged so we can make better use of the space that we have. I'd like to put a couple of big additions on, but for now that's not in my time frame. So we have to work in the space that we're in, and so we're going to be doing a lot of reorganization and some purging to get rid of some stuff that we don't need anymore. And it'll either be going away, eBay, Craigslist, or out to one of the storage sheds, one of the storage buildings, if it's something that we're going to need in the future. Like I keep my cherry picker engine hoist out in the shed torn apart. I don't use it that often. If I need it, I go out and get it, bring it in, put it together and use it, and then it gets torn down and put back out in the shed because I just don't use it often enough to keep it in here. So I hope that answers your question, Christy. Bill asks, what is your favorite welding machine type? I don't know if that means brand or if it means process. My favorite process, of course, is MIG. Everybody loves MIG. It's easy. We call the Lincoln SP250 the monkey welder because even a monkey can weld with it. They do a fairly decent job, as long as the settings are right, and it's all computer controlled, so it's pretty hard to screw up the settings. It sets them for you. Of course, you can adjust from there, wire speed, voltage, whatnot, but it's the monkey welder, and it does a good job, and so that would be my go-to method. As far as actually doing the welding, I've been doing a bit more TIG lately. As some of you know, I've got a TIG machine last summer, and I'm learning how to use that. And again, I learned how to TIG weld in welding school. Didn't have the process available to me, so I'm out of practice on it. But I'm getting better at it. Just before I do a customer weld or a critical weld, I usually spend 20 minutes just practicing on the material thickness and type, and playing with settings and getting it so I can make a good bead. And sure, sometime in the future it'll become second nature again. Used to do pretty good at it, but like I said, since I didn't have a machine with that process, I'm really out of practice. It's been 25 years since I've done a lot of it. And as far as machines go, red, blue, or yellow. Really, I like. I've got two Lincolns, the SP250 and the 210 MP that I just bought, so I'd have stick in the garage, so I'd have that capability again. And so I've got two Lincolns. I've got the plasma cutter and the TIG welder are Eastwood units, and that was a budget thing. I didn't know how much I would use them, and to be honest, I don't use the plasma. When I first got the plasma, I used it a lot up through a couple of bumper builds, and then some of the bumpers that came in after that have been lighter gauge stuff, so I've been using the vertical bandsaw for most of my thinner gauge cutting, so I haven't been using the plasma cutter as much. Same with the TIG welder. I didn't know how much I was going to use it, so I wasn't going to go spend Lincoln Miller money on it. And I decided that the Eastwood unit was a good buy, and I would get by with that for a while, and if I found I was using it a lot, then I can always sell that one and upgrade to a better machine. So far, it's met all the needs that I've needed. It's the TIG 200 from Eastwood. It's their biggest TIG welder that they sell, I believe, and it's been able to handle everything that I've asked of it. And as far as yellow, I've mentioned Miller and Lincoln, so yellow would be ESAB. When I was looking at the Lincoln 210 MP, I was looking really hard at the new ESAB Rebel. I welded with it. I did at FabTech last year. I welded a little bit with it, and then at the local welding store brought the rep from ESAB was in. He brought a machine in, and I spent about 2 hours playing with it and running beads and in all three processes: TIG, scratch start TIG, or lift arc TIG, depending on how you want to call it. And that is a DC only machine, so no aluminum. And stick and MIG and flux cord. I ran all of them, ran test beads with all of them, spent a couple hours just playing with settings and just getting comfortable with it till I felt I was competent enough with it to make welds with it. And in the end, it came down to price. I decided that the Lincoln 210 MP was a better buy. They have that $200 rebate that I got, and so that made the decision for me. Otherwise, they're very comparable machines. Just the Lincoln was a better buy for me, and I can always add. I didn't get the spool gun for it or the TIG components for it. I got TIG. I don't see a need to run spool gun. I don't do miles of aluminum welding, so TIG is fine for doing aluminum for me. I don't need a spool gun for that, and but I can always add those features. Lincoln's always going to be there, and they're very good at supporting their products through the years. So I know that I can get those parts in the future if I want to add those. Robert asks, what equipment would you like to add to the shop? And I had to think about this one for a little bit because as far as small stuff, I think I'm good. There's some stuff that I'm planning on making. A few things that come to mind that I'd like to add to the shop would be a high-speed belt sander. I don't know if I'm going to buy the components and make that, can do the grinder conversion, or buy the parts and make the frame and and put my own motor on it, or if I'm going to would just go out and buy a complete unit. If I find a really good deal on one at an auction or a sale, yeah, you can guess I'll just grab the whole machine. But that's something to think about. Not something I need right at the moment, and so it would be something I'd like to add. Along with that, I'd love to put a mill and a lathe in here, a metal lathe. Something I haven't done a whole lot of. I did some in high school, and then some while I was in welding school. We spent a week in the machine shop, working with the machine shop teacher, learning the basics of machine shop, because welding and machining go hand in hand. They really do. Both processes are needed to do just about anything anymore. So you can do a lot more if you have those capabilities. And if I find the machines at a good price, I've been talking with some friends back and forth if I should bite the bullet and buy Chinese on those, and they kind of talked me out of it. They said, keep looking around, you'll find a good American machine eventually. I don't need CNC, so an old LeBlond or South Bend, any of those older machines would work just fine for me. As far as a mill, you've got your Bridgeports and Wells Index, and there's a ton of Bridgeport clones out there. So just got to keep my eyes open, and when the right one comes along, I'll know it, and I'll buy it. So that was the last question, I think, that I wrote down here. I know there were a bunch more, but they were pretty much all asking the same things, so got those covered. We're coming up on 15,000 views, which kind of really is a milestone for me. 10,000 views is great, but that 15,000, just keep watching that view count climb, it really keeps me energized in making the videos. And I hope you guys are liking the videos, and if there's something that we can do to make the videos better or more interesting, please go ahead and leave it in the comment. So for 15,000 views, we're going to do a little giveaway. I got a couple of things in that I like, and I figured we'd toss those out. In order to enter the giveaway, all you have to do is post a comment on this video, and 7 days after we hit 15,000 views, I'm going to go ahead and use a random number generator and pick a winner. And then I'll make a new video announcing the winner, and then they'll have to email me and give me their contact information so I can ship this off to them. For prizes, we got the wrench organizer. Let's see if I can get a good view of that picture for you. I bought 2 of these, one for metric, one for standard, to keep in the shop here. It is divided up in metric and standard, so you can put all your wrenches in one if you wanted to, but I have separate drawers for separate styles. So, and then toolbox labels, just magnetic toolbox labels. That way you can mark your toolboxes. I found since I got the new tool bench here built, I don't know where anything is. I'm constantly opening 4 or 5 drawers to look for some of the more less used tools. So I bought a set to give away and a set for myself. And then I've got a few other things around the shop here that I'm going to be tossing in, along with some Wood Metal Workshop stickers. So if you're interested, go ahead and sign to make a comment down below, and we'll get you picked out. And that's 7 days after the 15,000th view. We'll go ahead and do the drawing. A couple of people asked me what projects that I've got coming up here in the future. Got a couple of them. The 98 Ford Ranger is coming back in the garage. It's time to do the front bumper on it. I've kind of been putting it off for other projects, and really need to get that in here and get that done. So that's the next thing that's going to be rolling in. We're going to be doing a front bumper. We're going to be doing front shocks. If you remember, we did rear bumper, rear springs, and rear shocks. Last time it was in here. This time it's getting front shocks, a new front bumper, and the brakes need to be done. So I picked up all the new brake parts for it. This is a customer's truck, so he's just he asked me if I could do the brakes while I had it in here doing the bumpers. So, and it's sitting outside waiting to come in. So it'll be the next thing rolling through the door. Then we've got F350 pickup. The box is really rotten, rusted out, and kind of a northern Minnesota thing. It happens. And so the customer asked us to build a flatbed with a headache rack. And been talking back and forth a little bit. We got some time to work on that one. He's not in a big rush for it, and so we're still figuring out some of the final details. But we'll be pulling the bed off and getting it prepped so we can finish up the final measurements and design on the flatbed. We're going to be, well, let's see. Here's something new that we added to the shop. It was last week. I finally found an anvil. It's a Peter Wright, 143 pounds according to the scale. This actually came out of a museum. On the tag here, it says that it was made in Dudley, England between 1852 between 1852 and 1860. So, it's slightly older than I am. It's in fairly decent shape. It's not perfect, but it will do the job. So, to go along with that, we'll be doing a brake drum forge. So, there's an old brake drum off my 95 GMC. It's going to be a fairly large brake drum forge, so we should be able to do a pretty good job with that. We got the plans all made for that, and we're looking forward to getting going on it. Another project that we're started on, and you can see there, right here, we've got a big lard or shortening can, and a propane-powered heat source for a foundry furnace. So those are the parts for that. I still need to stop by the brick and mortar supplier in town and pick up the refractory. Need 4 bags of it to make the foundry furnace. And a couple other little projects. The AV cart that I modified to hold the plasma cutter and the TIG welder just isn't working. As part of the shop reorganization, I need to get a little more compact, versatile, easier to use unit. So we're going to be building a welding cart, plasma cutter cart. They're going to be combined into one cart, so it takes a little less footprint on the floor, be easy to move around, and just make the shop more useful. And I saw at FabTech last year, I saw an interesting mount for a second smaller MIG welder, like the 210 MP, that was mounted above the larger welder on a rack. And so we'll be doing that so we can share the C25 tank between those two machines. One's going to, the MP, or the 210 MP, is going to be loaded with 025 or 023 wire. I've got a 10-pound spool over here. I can't remember which one it is right off the top of my head. And then I'll keep the 035 in the big machine for doing bigger jobs. So, and that'll of course take up less floor space, keep that footprint small, but allow me to use the machine and move it around. So that's what's coming up in the shop. Go ahead and make a comment and get entered in that drawing. And from now till 7 days after we hit 15,000 views, everybody who makes a comment on this video will get entry into the drawing. And if you make multiple comments, sorry, you only get one shot. So, all right, thanks guys for watching, and make a comment, and we'll catch you in the next video.